Hello everybody. So I was reading this chapter called Plant Kingdom of Biology class 11. So I thought of why not making a video out of it in order to help people or students who are reading this chapter. So if let's say they're reading this chapter, they can read along with me and take advantage of it. So let's get started with the chapter. The name of the chapter is Plant Kingdom. Let's start with the reading portion. In the previous chapter, we looked at the broad classification of living organisms under the system proposed by Whittaker in 1969. Dates are very important. So the five kingdom classification given by R.H. Whittaker, it happened in the year 1969, wherein the suggested five kingdom classification, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Animalia and Plantae. In this chapter, we will deal in detail with the further classification within the kingdom Plantae, popularly known as plant kingdom. So in this chapter, we are only going to study about plant kingdom, or we can also call that as kingdom Plantae. Let's start. We must stress here that our understanding of the plant kingdom has changed over time. Fungi and members of Monera and Protista having cell walls have now been excluded from Plantae, though earlier classification placed them in the same kingdom. So Monera and Protista, they are now excluded from Plantae. Earlier the reason why they were placed in Plantae because they had cell wall, right? But now they are excluded and we don't learn them in the same kingdom, which is Plantae. So the cyanobacteria that are also referred to as blue-green algae are not algae. They are not algae anymore. In this chapter, we will describe algae, bryophyte, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, and as they come under the kingdom Plantae. Let us also look at the classification within angiosperms to understand some of the concerns that influence the classification system. So firstly, we're going to look at the classification of angiosperms. The earliest system of classification used only gross superficial morphological characters. This term is very important because this has come in the previous years many times. So gross superficial morphological characters, earlier systems. The earlier system used to consider this. What were they? What were the gross superficial morphological characters? Like habit, color, number and shape of leaves. So this was considered as a system of classification. They were based mainly on vegetative characters or on the androecium structures, and this system was given by Linnaeus. Okay, so such system were artificial. So this question has also come, that what kind of system did Linnaeus proposed? The system that was proposed by Linnaeus was based upon gross superficial characters and such as vegetative characters and androecium structure, and such system were known as artificial system. Okay, why they were called artificial system? Because they separated the closely related species, since they were based on few characteristics. Only a few characteristics were used, right? Vegetative characters or androecium structure, habit, color, number. So which means other characters were not taken care of. So since few characteristics were taken care of, therefore the closely related species, they also got separated in the Linnaeus system of classification. Therefore we call it as artificial. Also, the artificial system gave equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. Okay, the artificial system given by Linnaeus, it gave equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not acceptable, since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by environment. Okay, we can't weigh the vegetative characters and sexual characters similarly in equal manner, because the vegetative characters, they are more easily affected by the environment. Okay, we can't talk about the sexual characters as being affected by the environment, but as far as the vegetative characters are concerned, they are easily affected by the environment. जैसे जैसे एनवायरनमेंट में चेंजेस होते हैं, वैसे वैसे वेजिटेटिव कैरेक्टर्स पे असर होता है, वो अफेक्ट हो सकते हैं. against this matlab this as in the artificial system, against this natural classification system developed, which were basis of natural affinities among the organisms and consider not only external features but also internal features. So against this means against the artificial system, natural classification system was developed. Okay, and what was this natural system of classification based upon? It was based upon natural affinities. Okay, and when we talk about natural affinities, it not only considered the external features as the artificial system considered, but it also considered the internal features like ultrastructures, anatomy, embryology, phytochemistry. Okay, so these things were also considered when it comes to natural classification system. Such a classification for flowering plants was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. So the natural system of classification based upon external and internal features such as ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology and phytochemistry, it was given by, and such as classification of flowering plant, it was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. At present, phylogenetic classification system based on evolutionary relationship between the various organisms are acceptable. Now if we talk about the present time, the classification system based upon phylogenetics as in the evolutionary relationship of various organisms are acceptable. So this question has also come multiple times, that what is phylogenetic system of classification? It's a system of classification which is based upon evolutionary relationship. This assumes that the organisms belonging to the same taxa have a common ancestor. What does it assume? It assumes that if in case an organism belongs to the same taxa, it will have a common ancestor. Okay, we now use information from many other sources too to help resolve difficulties in classification. So not only this, but we also use information from other sources as well, so that we can resolve all what difficulties that we face when it comes to classification. Okay, these become more important when there is no supporting fossil evidence. Okay, fair, we are taking in consideration as far as the evolutionary relationship is concerned for classification, but let's say we do not have any fossil evidence for that, then how will we do the evolutionary relationship classification based upon evolutionary relationship? So if in case we do not have any supporting fossil evidence, then in that case we have numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computers, is based on all observable characteristics. Okay, all, when I say all, it is all. Often in Neet exam questions of similar manner they often come, wherein all, some, much, many, so questions are based upon these terms also, therefore all is important. So in numerical taxonomy, computers are used, computer is the keyword, and all observable characters are taken into consideration. Okay, then numbers and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data is then processed. Alright, in numerical taxonomy, what are the keywords? Computers are used, all observable characters, numbers and codes are given to all the characters, and that's how the data is processed. In this way, each character is given equal importance. So equal importance also becomes important keyword here. And at the same time, hundreds of characters are considered. Okay, so each and every character is given equal importance, and not only that, by doing so, at the same time hundreds and hundreds of characters are considered. Okay, so that is what numerical taxonomy is. Alright, the next one is, if in case fossil evidence is not there, the next thing that we can do is cytotaxonomy. As the name says, something related to cell must be there. Cytotaxonomy is based on cytological information like chromosome number, structure, behavior. So in cytotaxonomy, what are the keywords? Chromosome number, structure and behavior. So cytotaxonomy is based upon information like chromosome number, structure and behavior. Lastly, we have chemotaxonomy. Chemo has in something to do with the chemicals. So chemotaxonomy that uses the chemical constituent of the plant to resolve the confusion are also used by taxonomists these days. So in the keyword for chemotaxonomy is what? Chemical constituents of the plant in order to resolve the confusions. Understood? So we have phylogenetic, which is based upon evolutionary relationship, but if in case we don't have fossil evidence in order to support this evolutionary relationship classification, then we can move ahead with numerical taxonomy, which is when computers are used and all the observable characters are given numbers and codes, and hundreds of characters are considered at one time. And the second thing that we can do instead is cytotaxonomy, wherein cytological information like chromosome number, chromosome structure and chromosome behavior is taken care of or is taken into consideration while doing the classification. And lastly, chemotaxonomy, wherein the chemical constituent of a plant is used to resolve the confusions, and this has been used by the taxonomists these days. So with this, we're done with the introduction of the chapter Plant Kingdom. Let us move ahead and let's learn about algae now. Algae are chlorophyll bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic, largely aquatic, both freshwater and marine organism. They occur in a variety of other habitats: moist stones, soil, wood. Some of them occur in association with fungi, which is lichen, animals on sloth bear. So what all did we learn about algae? That it is, number one, it has chlorophyll. Its body structure is simple and thalloid. Mode of nutrition is autotrophic. It's largely aquatic. When it comes to largely aquatic, it is found most in both freshwater and marine water. Okay, they happen to occur in a variety of habitats such as moist soil, moist stones, soils and wood. Okay, we see association with other organisms with algae, which is algae when associated with fungi makes lichen, and algae associated with animal, an example is sloth bear. The form and size of algae is highly variable, ranging from colonial forms like volvox and filamentous forms like eleutheryx and spirogyra. Okay, so we have colonial forms like volvox, because these examples are really important, because these examples, they come as it is. So colonial is volvox, it's a ball shaped structure. Filamentous like eleutheryx and spirogyra. Filaments they usually look like this. So eleutheryx and spirogyra. A few of the marine forms such as kelps have massive plant bodies. So we learnt about four examples rather: volvox, eleutheryx, spirogyra and kelps. One more thing that I wanted to talk about is that you may notice that my pronunciation of these examples may sound a little odd to you, but just bear with me, because that's how I've learned these examples, because it's only the Neet exam wherein these examples will be asked. So I just pronounce it in a manner that they sound fun to me in order to remember them. So therefore, if you find that my pronunciation of any example is odd, see, I'm no teacher, I'm just a student as you all. So if in case you find any oddity, just ignore it, pronounce it the way your teacher has taught you. Alright, so yes, volvox, eleutheryx, spirogyra and kelp. Volvox is colonial, eleutheryx and spirogyra is filamentous, and kelp is massive. Alright, so we talked about size. Let's move ahead and learn about reproduction. Algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual and sexual methods. So all three methods could be seen: vegetative, sexual and asexual. Vegetative reproduction is done by fragmentation. Very important. each fragment develop into a thallus. So when it comes to vegetative reproduction, fragmentation, right, and fragmentation when happens, each fragment it develops into a thallus. Thallus as in body. We're done with vegetative reproduction. Let's move ahead to the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is by production of different types of spores. Usually it happens in asexual reproduction that spores are produced. So therefore here as well different types of spores are produced. Now in spores also, the most common amongst these spores is zoospores. Okay, what are zoospores? Zoospores are the spores that are flagellated. When they are zoospores, that's all. Sometimes these spores are flagellated. Okay, when they are flagellated, then they are motile because flagella helps them in movement, and on germination they give rise to new plants. Okay, so zoospores are flagellated and they are motile, because of which, and when as they go to a suitable environment, they germinate and give rise to a new plant. So we're done with asexual reproduction also. So vegetative reproduction, fragmentation, asexual reproduction through spores, which is motile, flagellated zoospores. Let's look at sexual reproduction now. Sexual reproduction takes place through fusion of two gametes. So two gametes are fused together, and that's how sexual reproduction takes place. These gametes can be flagellated and similar size. So flagella वहाँ पर होगा ही, और साइज भी दोनों का सिमिलर होगा. एग्जाम्पल है इलोथेरिक्स. ओके, या फिर नॉन फ्लैजिलेटेड भी हो सकते हैं, विच इज़, और नॉन फ्लैजिलेटेड अगर होंगे तो नॉन मोटाइल भी होंगे, लेकिन साइज़ अभी भी सिमिलर रहेगा. तो सिमिलर साइज़ के हमारे पास दो तरीके के हो सकते हैं. एक होता है मोटाइल और एक होता है नॉन मोटाइल. मोटाइल की अगर हम बात करें तो इलोथेरिक्स का एग्जाम्पल दिया गया है, और नॉन मोटाइल की बात करें तो स्पायरोगारा का एग्जाम्पल दिया गया है. ओके, such reproduction is called isogamous. Isogamous as in same size. So same size is known as isogamous. Same size could be motile and non-motile. If it is motile, then it is Eleutherics. If it is non-motile, then it is Spirogara. Eleutherics and Spirogara both were what? Filamentous, as we learnt. Alright. Fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size, as in species of Eudorina, is termed as anisogamous. So isogamous similar size, anisogamous different size. An example of anisogamous is Eudorina. Okay, fusion between one large non-motile static female. So females are large, non-motile, which means no flagella. Males are smaller and they have flagella. So this is female, then this is male, and when they both fuse together, that's what we call as oogamous, and examples are volvox and fucus. The fusion between one large non-motile static as in non-motile female and smaller motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Examples are volvox and fucus. So what all examples did we learn here? We learnt examples of Eleutherics, Spirogara, which are isogamous. Then we learnt Eudorina, which is anisogamous. Then we learnt volvox and fucus, which is what? Oogamous. So that's what we learnt. These were the examples that we learnt in algae. Let's look at the diagrams. So this is what? This is, as I told you, colonial one, which is volvox. This is volvox. Alright, and then again this is filamentous. As you can see, this is Eleutherics. Okay, this is green algae. Thus far green algae. Okay, we'll learn about other types of algae, or let's look at algae, the other types of algae as well. So these two are green algae, and this is volvox colonial, and this is Eleutherics, which is filamentous. Then we have brown algae. This portion is brown algae. First is laminaria. So I often look at it and I see an L here. I'm not sure if you all can see. So this is laminaria, that's how I remember it. Next is fucus. I also see an F, inverted F here. So therefore that's how I remember it. This is fucus. And next is dictyota. So dictyota, I see a D here. So that's how I remember it. So this is dictyota. This is brown algae. Moving ahead, we have red algae. This is porphyra. This one is porphyra, and this is polysiphonia. Poly as in, you can see lots of hands over here. Poly means multiple in number, right? So that's how I remember it. Again, there's no scientific basis of it. I just remember it in this manner. This is polysiphonia, which is a red algae.